Hello there, English speakers, and I'm here to enlighten your blind spot. So this is a Siberian dogwood, all of these reddish things that are starting to prepare for winter, and that has already been done by this poplar. It's a balsam poplar, to be precise. They got introduced here from North America some 100 years ago because, well, they fit the climate here, unlike the black poplar. But we'll start by taking a big, deep breath under this bird cherry. Actually, you can still see some leaves left. So that's not some cherries you can eat exactly. If you learned about donkeys yesterday, they have very long ears compared to small horses. But that donkey video got really popular on Facebook. I posted it on my page and on my profile, and it got over 1,000 likes. So that's nice. Maybe some new people are starting to follow me. So hi there. I hope you like me as much as you like a tough donkey that removes all the competition to the little water they got. I'm sure that they will get more water after that fight. So I watched some long interview with Fuentes and Tucker Carlson. I have not been very familiar with Fuentes. I've heard clips of him, but I haven't been really interested in his take on stuff. But he had an interesting story that he was created basically by Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro started to attack him and quoted him on X, as Ben Shapiro has a big account. Many noticed it. Why are he attacking this totally unknown 18-year-old? He had like 100 followers and basically was totally unknown. But he had a friend that knew Ben Shapiro, and they were talking about him, and then Ben Shapiro saw him and started to imagine that he was a white supremacist that were not Shaboskoy. And that's not something that Ben Shapiro likes, so he started to hate him, as that's what Ben Shapiro does. And Fuentes also liked to listen to Mark Levine, etc. Of course, as it's Fuentes and they talk for 2 hours, he says some dumb stuff, which might be very smart actually. He said he talked about the history or the event when he was attacked by a murderer. So that murderer was insane and had already murdered 2-3 people. And then he went to Fuentes' house and tried to break in and murder him, but instead murdered the neighbors' dogs. But that happened December the 18th. And that was a special day for Nick Fuentes, because it was Stalin's birthday. And then he smiles and said, "I'm a big fan." And he didn't talk more about that, and they didn't circle back to it later. I assume that there is a very good explanation for that. And if you take this as some did, that I can't listen to Nick Fuentes anymore. He admires Stalin, so that's enough for me, and I can't stand it anymore. That's not a real opinion. That's just some really dumb NPC, not doing any thinking and just want instant gratification for being dumb. A way of worshipping Satan. So I just laughed at them and laughed at Fuentes, of course. I'm not interested in his explanation actually, but if you have it, maybe I would listen to it. I have my own explanation why Stalin wasn't that bad, as you have heard before. He took care of the worst of the Bolsheviks, and he did execute a lot of genocidal people. He did reintroduce nationalism and the Russian culture that many of the Bolsheviks wanted to destroy. And Tucker Carlson himself, during this interview, was saying that Christian Zionists are the worst. They are the cancer on Christianity, whatever. So that's not a mainstream kind of thing to say. And Huckabee, is that how it's pronounced, the US ambassador to Israel, he was mentioned, and he was like, yeah, okay, so I'm the worst of the worst. Yeah, you are. And of course, the reactions are the most interesting thing with such an interview. And of course, you had an army of this $5,000 army that gets, no, $7,000. They don't actually get that, but that's the myth, that they get $7,000 for every post that is insanely pro-Israel. And they were doing ad hominem attacks and just spewing feelings, totally useless. But there were some of them that actually had a point, and saying that part against being against Christian Zionists, and that is being a traitor. Well, who is the traitor? It's not the ones who are pointing at the traitors. Being a Christian Zionist is being a traitor. You can listen to, for example, Eric Warsha, or you don't have to, but you can send to your Christian Zionist friends, and Eric Warsha explains it in 72 seconds. So you get to learn about that they are actually literally summoning the Antichrist when they are building the third temple. And what they want to achieve with that, that's Antichrist, not the return of Jesus that one should want to happen. And he also explained what Israel and this misconception that modern Israel has anything to do with what the scripture says about if you are good to me or good to God, then the world will be good to you. Has nothing to do with the modern Zionist state of Israel. Never ever comment on useless goblins. Some people call them trolls, but they are not trolling. They are just spewing bullshit and doing those ad hominem attacks without any substance whatsoever. But I did, because I think I'm Jesus or something, or I like to see, I want to see why they are behaving like this. And well, I also come up with good arguments, so I did. So this was a goblin on YouTube that says that I'm totally science denying because I'm not lying under a bed, being very scared for the climate and demanding less plastic straws, because otherwise the climate will explode and we all will turn into goats. Something like that is what they actually believe. But I spoke about Satan and how he's worshipping Satan. And no, they don't understand that kind of language. It's a poetic way of saying, when I do it, it's a poetic way of saying that this unholy narrative and worshipping the paid liars just because it's easier, or it makes you feel good, or it makes you rich, or sort of powerful. You aren't powerful because you're a slave under Satan. Maybe you should explain what you mean with Satan, so that they don't think, or they just don't understand you. So that might be good to remind myself of. Also, people have a problem understanding some language that I think is great. So Candace Owens, she had a similar kind of experience. So she was traveling around with Charlie Kirk in 2018, and they were fishing and stuff, and well, having Turning Point USA events, of course. And it turns out that There were Zionists, Zionist Jews and people that really want them to split up. So they were tricking Candace Owens with all sorts of setups, trick questions, and then they just spread the context out. Well, they spread the clip without context so that it looks like totally different. And she noticed that they had handlers that were there to push them apart and steer them in different ways. So these stories about Candace Owens and Charlie Kirk might be good to know when you are either interacting with these people that have handlers, or if you go into these organizations and try to do something with them, and you kind of have to do that to become powerful. Big fight there. So we'll see if they get to be friendly with each other. And then another typical Jewish behavior, and I will say not all Jews behave like this, but when you see this behavior, and it's extra a lot among Jews. I know many Swedish disgusting people that behave in similar ways, just to become sociopaths climbing in the organizations that they are in. But here's another example of toxic influencer, or nameless or anonymous Twitter account. He posted an image of Mackenzie Scott. If you don't recognize the name Mackenzie Scott, you should at least know that she is the ex-wife of Bezos. So she's using half of the money that he had, that she took, and she's using them to destroy USA, basically. And she's funding mass immigration and cultural destruction and all sorts of things like that. But what was said about her, it was that you have never heard about her because she's not a Jew. As if that we only talk shit about Jews, no one else, which someone just did, Tucker Carlson, who talked a lot of very bad shit about the Christian Zionists that were the worst, according to him. But no, this Jew, that is important only because Elon Musk was amplifying this message, and I'm against that. So if you want to know what Mackenzie, what did she do with her money? Of course she donated it to Jewish NGOs. So she donated to Hayas and a lot of smaller, not so known Jewish NGOs. And of course this Jewish liar, I don't know if he's Jewish, but it looks like that. He says that the Hayas, they are now working for Muslims, so they had to change their name. That's total bullshit. It's a Jewish organization and they work to destroy USA. Another example of Jewish behavior to laugh at. Batya Ungar Sargon. So Batya Ungar Sargon. So that's the name that you can have, apparently. A cool name. She's not so cool. She said that it's infuriating that only 13% of the leftists, they are supporting the Gaza Holocaust. Only 13% support this genocidal burning and destruction. And that despite all the good things that the Jews have done. They have created, with that I mean, they have infiltrated the labor unions. They under the Jewish administration of Roosevelt. They did the New Deal that made the Jews richer, and USA's economy were even more centralized. It did not improve the economy. And 70% of the ones who were fighting for this civil rights movement, they were Jewish. Well, lawyers are very much Jewish, and they wanted to destroy the cultures, the black one included. So Leonarda Jonni, if you don't know her, she is very antiseptic. She also hates Indians. So if you don't like that, you maybe should watch her. But Leonarda Jonni said, oh, that's funny. That's what happens when you create this golem, not Gollum, golem from the Jewish mythology, a big sort of animated monster. And that's the leftist. When you have created a golem and it doesn't obey you anymore, that's scary for them. Poor them. Then I will enlighten another blind spot that you might have had. And well, I didn't have it. I had warned you. But 12 people were killed in another so-called narco-terrorist boat. So that was the Trump administration that blew up another of these boats that they have been blowing up outside of Venezuela. Not this time. This time it was in the Pacific, where, if you didn't know that, Venezuela has nothing to do with the Pacific. They don't have any coast or any ships that are in their military generally there. And of course, no Venezuelan smugglers are traveling in the Pacific, at least not as a part of some Venezuela operation. So it seems like they are hitting something else, and this idea to spread that they are going to do regime change in Venezuela that no one wants. The CIA doesn't want it because they want to continue their grift by trying to stage a coup without succeeding. And of course the sane people doesn't want a coup either. Only the Nobel Prize winner and some morons, the neocon talking points, they want a coup because, well, they don't have a brain. They are just puppets of Satan, or the unholy narrative. I have to explain to some people apparently. Talking about Antichrist, how many of them will there be? I don't think this is the Antichrist, but Optimus 3 is almost designed, finished. So this is Tesla's robot, and they think that they have solved so that it has very agile and feeling fingers. So the mechanics there is very hard to do, and basically no other robot is so successful with that. And they do have this data how to navigate in the world from the Tesla cars that are basically robots on wheels, and they have Grok AI. And to combine this understanding of the outside world and the physics and how to navigate and comprehend the world, the robot needs that. And also they need mass production, and that they are getting ready for that, which is extremely hard. There is no supply chains ready to do this. So all the parts of the robot they have to build themselves, which means that it's a hard thing to do. And Tesla seems to be the only company that is actually able to do this. All these 3 points with great hands, advanced hands, and AI that is able to do this understanding of reality and to do that, you need mass production. You can't have one robot or 10 robots and they should learn everything. You have to have hundreds of thousands of robots that are going around in the world to learn stuff, and then you can spread their knowledge, just like they did with the Tesla cars, instead of doing like Waymo did with their self-driving cars that are much more limited. And Grokipedia, I've linked a Zero Hedge article and another article for an example. You can see how they are treating the climate. And while Wikipedia is just a big bunch of lying, deceptive propaganda that only cares about the narrative and don't care about the facts, Grokipedia is actually still pushing propaganda, but not so obviously, and not so much lies in it, which is interesting then, as Tesla was used to be sold with climate lies, but it isn't anymore. Elon Musk has totally ended that part of the reason to buy a Tesla. There are better reasons for it. The big problem here with Grokipedia is that there is only one Grok. We need competing Groks and competing AI models. Maybe Brian Romele or allies to him could get us something similar. Brian Romele is of course very impressed with both Grok and Grokipedia, but it's very bad if something goes wrong with Grok, and you can imagine what could go wrong. But at least the right people are really enraged. So that is the Wikipedia editors. I can't go in that direction because then you will see only sun. And I don't want to go with the traffic, of course. So that's scary and good. 3 years ago, Elon Musk and his gang, so it's not only Elon Musk but the consortium that bought Tesla for 44 billion to buy freedom of speech. So I only wonder, where is the freedom of speech that I paid for? I paid for Premium Plus, and what did I get for that? I get banned for now 3 months totally, 2 months first, and then I've been banned since the 10th of October without getting any sort of reply. I have been appealing a lot, but no response whatsoever. And no one on X is posting about me either, which make me feel like, for example, Fuentes, when he was abandoned by his friends that didn't care about that he was kicked out from, well, everything. So we'll see if Grokipedia, can you actually write something that is nuanced about the Gaza Holocaust? And with nuanced, I mean that that portray Israel as the constant liar and deceiver and parasite and criminal hub that it is. So we have a very tight connection between Larry Ellison from not only Oracle, but he has been very closely involved in many projects together with Elon Musk, and owns XAI that owns X, and so on. And then we have Tommy Robinson, who is owned by Robert Schillman. Robert Schillman and Larry Ellison, they are basically the same. They have the same insane, genocidal, Zionist rhetoric. Larry Ellison also, of course, donates to IDF, which is the military that has been killing the most. They have been killing more journalists than all other militaries in world history combined. So Larry Ellison is not a friend of freedom of speech if it's against him. And Larry Ellison also made the most of the funding for the Blair Institute. So Tommy Robinson is funded by a close ally to Larry Ellison. So you can see it as Tommy Robinson is paid by the Blair Institute. And that should make you think if he is someone that should be promoted by Elon Musk. And Elon Musk said that we should support hard men. No, we should not support traitor hard men. That is not what we should do. And you should not promote the civil war that God Saad wants. So Elon Musk is saying that also, that UK is heading for civil war. This is a civil war. Let me explain how the civil war should look like. That is pointing out exactly who the Jews are, which of them doing the worst of the worst crimes with mass immigration, infiltration and corruption in society. Point them out, and then the smart of the other Jews, they will start to tell on the worst of their criminals, and then the civil war will be over pretty fast, and then we'll solve the problem with the immigrants, Muslims or Hindus or whatever they are, if they are causing problems in a way that they shouldn't. But of course, if you are Gad Saad or some other person that are just not liking Europeans and blame us for their mass immigration, well, then you want a civil war with the Muslims, and that will end badly for the Muslims, of course, but mostly for everyone. Don't listen to professors from Harvard. Why do I have to tell people this? They are useless eaters. So now, Joe Rogan, I will not watch this garbage. He have interviewed Avi Loeb, that is an astro moron from Harvard. He calls himself professor, and he says that in 7.6 billion years, then the sun will engulf the earth. He can't predict the space weather in 1 month. He cannot predict that in 7.6 billion years that will happen with the sun and the earth. That's totally garbage. It's a fantasy, and he has no idea what he's talking about, and he should have known that he doesn't know that. I don't know, and I'm way smarter and more informed of alternative theories than this complete bullshitter is. Bullshitters should not be invited to Joe Rogan. That's well, once maybe, so that I can call him out. But no, this is a waste of time. And then he says that because of this thing that will happen in 7.6 billion years, therefore we should focus on building space stations that are rotating and can move in that way. Well, do you listen to medieval monks that have no engineering experience whatsoever, and you listen to them when you are trying to, for example, build tunnels or rockets or anything? Of course you don't, and no one will listen to this professor when they are trying to do space exploration. This is just, he's worshipping Satan, and by spreading pure fantasies and trying to get clicks, basically, academical clicks. And finally, if you are a woman and you think that it's a little bit disgusting to make out with another woman, especially if that woman is licking herself in her butt, well, it might be a good idea to actually do that if you don't want to be dinner, as the other lady is a wolf and she has her wolf pack with her. So it might be a good idea actually to kiss the wolf lady, and then she will know that you're no threat and you're probably nicer as not food, because you taste very badly, I hope. So that's the scary warning. But if you want to see ladies make out with each other, interspecies, I have a video for that. And with that wisdom, see you again tomorrow.